What is it that we prioritize when we're younger, but as you go older, we realize that it's not really that important?
I just figured that money isn't everything in life. Chasing this hugely successful career, I began to realize that my soul was being taken away from me. And I began to realize that, I didn't want to become the richest young man in the graveyard,
Of course, yeah.
Hey, in this video, I'm going to be interviewing Dr. Teo, a 54-year-old professor from Hainan University, and he's going to be sharing his personal opinion on what he used to prioritize when he was younger, but as he got older, his priorities kind of changed. Let's get started.
What's your name?
My name is Neil Turns Rush. I'm 54 years old and I'm a professor of social science at the Hainan University.
What is it that we prioritize when we're younger, but as you go older, we realize that it's not really that important?
When I left college, I graduated with a Bachelor of Arts and Marketing. I almost immediately went into a full-time career as a professional marketeer, and I was highly ambitious. And I chased money. And the more I chased, the higher I got. And I got myself into a very successful career path in the pharmaceutical sector. But the more higher that I grew, and the bigger the jobs and the bigger the gigs that came my way, I found that it was just taking my life away. I just figured that money isn't everything in life. Chasing this hugely successful career, I began to realize that my soul was being taken away from me. And I began to realize that, I didn't want to become the richest young man in the graveyard,
Of course, yeah.
I just woke up one morning and you have to appreciate at this stage in my career, at that stage, I was working for the very large pharmaceutical companies. I was earning an enormous amount of money. I was driving beautiful cars, international travel, staying in 5-star hotels, eating at 5-star restaurants. And where I was living was a 5-star apartment. It's all very expensive and all very, what looked on the outside to be an extremely prestigious job. My friends used to always say, "Oh my God, Neil, where are you going this week? Where are you going?"
Yeah.
And I was traveling to Spain, and I was traveling to Madrid, Paris, all sorts of places, taking doctors to conferences, going to conferences myself. And it all looked really lovely from the outside. My friends used to say, "My God, Neil," and I was driving Audi A4s and, this kind of lifestyle. But I woke up one morning and I said, enough's enough. Because it was just taking me away. It was taking my soul away. It was I was doing nothing but working.
Yeah.
And the money was great. And yeah, sure, the international travel, and sure, staying in these amazing places and eating in amazing places. But you have to ground yourself back to the ground. And I just found myself, in a situation where, my God, the stress, the strain, the anxiety, the sleepless nights, trying to reach targets, and so on and so forth. And it just wasn't the life for me. And I decided mid-career I would go back to university and study to become a teacher, and then finally a professor. And now my life is just one big lump of calm and peace, because now I'm giving, nothing is taking from me. I'm very holistic, I'm very spiritual, I'm very grounded, and to my great regret, I wish I'd done this, I wish I'd changed careers. I've been teaching now for 17 years, and 17 of the happiest years of my career and my life, because my students are adorable and I love them, and I come at them with a sort of a holistic approach. I'm gentle, and they are so giving. That the reward from teaching, when one of your students comes and gives you a hug at their graduation and say, "Neil, you were one of the loveliest teachers, and I'm so happy that you were my teacher. Thank you very much." And that's the reward. I don't need money because I'm not a materialistic person anyway. I used to be, but I'm not anymore. And I haven't been for a very long time. I'm now in a place in my life as a 54-year-old middle-aged man. I'm married to a wonderful wife. She's Chinese and she's a teacher also. I think for both of us, it's, is a good relation because we can both understand, teaching is quite challenging at times. Don't get me wrong. It's not all rose gardens. You'll have some classes that are very, very challenging. But overall, we live a very harmonious life, both of us, with full understanding of both our careers, and that makes an enormous difference to both of us.
Going back to 20 years ago, what was your advice for your younger self?
I think everybody in the world, at the end of the day, is chasing to be content and be happy. My younger self, had I known that teaching could be so rewarding, I would never have gone to work for the corporations, ever. I just didn't see it at the time. As Maslow, the great social scientist, he did a study, and for the most part, he found that people tend to stay on the same career path. But there is a proportion of people out there in the human population that decide, right, now I'm going to change this around, Young people should keep in their minds today is that whatever career path you do choose, if it's not working for you and it affects your own personal happiness and contentment, then it's time to reevaluate and look at other options of how you can live and survive out there. That's the word from this 54-year-old man.